So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to be here today, to be here in Budapest and to talk about the services, the tools, and the data we are using in Vienna. For more than 17 years, I've been working in the fields of location analysis and helping business supporters and companies to find the right business premises in Vienna when it comes to the ground floor zone in Vienna, when it comes to the empty business shops. So, first of all, I want to give you some facts about Vienna. We have nearly 2 million residents living in Vienna in an area with more than 414 square kilometers. The population is, as we heard before, increasing. In Vienna, we have more than 120,000 companies. These companies are also chamber members, so the Chamber of Commerce is a chamber by law, and most of these companies are doing their work in retail, followed by information and consulting. We have more than 9,000 business starters per year, and in Vienna exists more than 50 shopping streets and shopping areas, from high-end shopping streets to small local supply areas, and in Vienna we call these small areas Grätzl. Maybe you know the word. It's the Wiener Grätzl. So, before I go into the detail, I want to talk about why do we do our offer, why do the Chamber of Commerce has implemented a service for business starters, for the ground zone Vienna, for empty shops in Vienna more than 20 years ago. I'm sure you know a lot of these reasons, and there are a lot of reasons more, but in the past a lot of companies moved in the shopping centers, and most of them are on the outskirts of the city. So the internet shopping is increasing, also the customer behaving is changing more and more, and also the behavior of business starters is changing. So starting a business in a field where you only need your laptop and your smartphone is much more easier than starting your business in a business premise. It's much more expensive. And yeah, I think there are a lot of more reasons, but these were the main reasons. The Chamber of Commerce, as I mentioned before, implemented this service already 20 years ago. And yeah, and these reasons not only affect Vienna, but cities all over the globe. So, and what we are doing in detail, so as I mentioned, I'm the head of location service, and in this department of location service, we have different teams, and one team is called the so-called freie lokale service, the service for empty business premises. And here we are working in 3 different fields. First of all, we are supporting in business settlement. So we're helping business starters and companies to find the right business location, and we also help real estate agencies to find potential tenants for the empty shops. The second field is our vacancy management system. This is the only system existing in Austria. It's a database with a lot of information, and it's also a lot of work. And in this database, we store information about the empty shops, about the empty business premises. We have, so I have to look. We have stored already more than 20,000 data sets when it comes to the empty shops. So you can find the information about exactly address, the rental costs, the size, and much more information. Then you also can find in our database information about the search profiles from site seekers, from business starters and companies. We have more than 67,000 profiles stored in our database. And then we have a lot of statistic tools implemented in the database. And the second field we are working in is the field of location analysis. So location analysis helps to make location decisions as well as to get to know the location environment. I will show you a location analysis in detail a little bit later. So what were our intentions and what are our targets that we're working in this field? So first of all, our vacancy management system. Here we want to know what's going on in Vienna shopping streets and shopping areas as well as in the residential areas. We want to monitor the empty shops and the development of the empty shops. We want to know the demand of real estate objects. We want to know which objects are for rent and so on. So, yeah, all in all, we want to know what's going on in Vienna shopping streets. And why do we support in business settlement, as I mentioned before, for business starters and companies? The main target is here that we want business starters to be in the industry, to be in their shop for a long term. We don't want that they have to close their shop in 6 months, in 1 year, or what else. We want that they can be successful for long term. And yeah, a very important reason is that we want to bind the purchasing power in the districts of Vienna, and we want to reduce the outflow of the purchasing power. And of course, we want to revitalize shopping streets and areas. So, how does the vacancy management system looks like in detail? So this database is our basis for our daily work, and it's connected with our platform, our website. You can find it on freilokale.at. This website is a classical website for real estates, and there you can find information about the objects which are for rent. But in the database, not only the objects are stored which actually for rent. As I mentioned before, we have a lot of data sets of objects stored. So every object we collected in the past is stored in this database. And from where we get our data, so we have different methods. On the one hand, the real estate agencies give us the information personally, like they call us, they write us an email or what else. Then my team is continuously on site in the shopping streets of Vienna and in the areas and collect data. So if they see a shop which is looking empty, they will note the information and then do the research. Who is the owner? Who is responsible for this shop, for this business premise, and what will happen with this object, with this shop. And a few years ago, we have implemented different interfaces to the most used real estate software systems, so we get the information also on a daily basis. Then from where we get the information about the search profiles from our site seekers. On the one hand, users can register on our platform on freilokale.at and create a search profile and also can activate the so-called search agent. And on the other hand, we get the information in personal talks, appointments, and so on. And it's very important that we update this information in the database continuously. And then we also can create various facts and figures. So through these statistic tools I mentioned before, I know that most of the business starters are looking for a business premise with between 30 and 90 square meters. So that's very small spaces. 10 years ago, we had the situation that most site seekers were looking for shops with an area of 300 square meters. So now it's the opposite. We also know the most popular districts where people want to start a business. So it's the 1st, the 2nd, the 6th, and the 7th district. We also know the smaller areas, as I mentioned before, the Grätzl, which are the most popular Grätzl in Vienna to start a business. And we also know in which sector they have planned to open the business, and actually the average size of an empty business premise is about 270 square meters. So we have the information that we can tell the real estate agency, that we can tell the owners, so please try to customize the area from the empty shops. No. I forgot to say, we support per year about 2,500 business starters in Vienna. So they really are looking for a business premise in the ground floor zone. That's really, really a lot. And we notice that this amount is increasing already. During the COVID pandemic, it was there were a lot of site seekers, although, but now we notice that this amount is increasing more and more again. So, and how does a location analysis looks like? As I mentioned, and this is also a service for business starters and companies. It's also very important for companies who came abroad or who want to start from abroad, a location or a business in Vienna. And we want to support them to make the right location decision, and with such hard facts you can find in the location analysis, you can compare different locations with this data. And we also offer this analysis for real estate agencies, so they can give this information directly to the customers or they add it to their object exposés. We can create such analysis for each address within Vienna, and it consists of a lot of different maps and figures and tables. We consider the site environment of a 500-meter walking distance, but we can customize this. Yeah? And the data contained in the analysis is updated once per year or as required. So, and I think now the most interesting part is coming. So what you can find in our location analysis? First of all, you can find information about the socio-demographics of the residentials. We get the information from the Statistics Austria. Statistics Austria is the statistic office of Austria. And you can find the information, for example, about the age structure, the amount of residents, about the education structure, and so on. But very interesting is also the information about the daily people. That's not the amount of the residentials. With daily people is the amount, or daily people is the amount of people who are working there, who are studying there in the environment. So if you're planning to open a restaurant, it may be very interesting to know that, because if you will offer a lunch menu, yeah, you have the amount of possible customers. Yeah. Then you also can find in our location information about the purchasing power. We get the purchasing power, or the information of the purchasing power, from a company called Profile Address. Profile Address is a owner-managed company, and they're experts in collecting data and geomarketing. So you can find in the analysis information about the average net income, or also the purchasing index, or power index. Then we are also using data from our own, from the Chamber of Commerce of Vienna. So with this data we can create a map with the competitors, or a list with the mix of branches, mix of sectors. Then we are also using data from the open government data of the city of Vienna. They have really a lot of information. You can find in an analysis the so-called point of interest, for example, where's the next car sharing station, the information about the public transportation, including the routing lines and also the stops, information about parking possibility and much more. And I think Vienna do this since a lot of years, that we get data from them, and it's for free. Everything from the open government of the city, it's for free. There are no costs, and they already make figures and data from the administration publicly. So another very important information is the information about the passenger frequency. So we, the Chamber of Commerce, count the passengers in specific shopping streets and areas already since the 1970s in collaboration with the city of Vienna. The counting happens every second year, so the last counting was last year. And counting days are always a Thursday and a Saturday in October, and in the location analysis you can find the single counting points as well as an overview from all streets and areas which were counted. So this information are really very important when someone wants to start frequency-dominated business. And it's also very interesting for real estate agencies as well as from companies which are coming from abroad. Here we have already used different methods for counting. So like data from telecommunication companies and so on. But we do this manually. We have found out that that's the most exactly method to do this. Yeah, furthermore, I also want to give you an insight how we are working, or how is the collaboration between the Chamber of Commerce and the City of Vienna. Wiener Wohnen is an organization of the City of Vienna, and Wiener Wohnen is responsible for the property which the City of Vienna owns. So they are managing more than 220,000 apartments which are in the property of Vienna. They are managing more than 5,000 business premises. But notice, not all of these 5,000 business premises can be used in a classical, in a traditional way, because a lot of them are situated in the backyards of the buildings. So they are also used for kindergartens, for storage space, for office space and something like that. And Wiener Wohnen also uses our service, our platform, freilokale.id. They also uses our location information. Another organization of the City of Vienna is the so-called Kreative Räume Wien. Kreative Räume Wien offers support when it comes to short-term use. In a lot of cases, they're working together with the creative industry or with artists and so on. And we're very happy that the City of Vienna installed this team, this Kreative Räume, because we think the need is a long-term as well as a short-term use of shops and business premises. Then a few years ago, we did together a project called Lebendige Straßen. You can download the study with our lessons learned in the internet. Lebendige Straßen, the project had a duration for 3 years. And in the focus of this project were 3 different streets with the target to revitalize them. So we tried here different tools and methods. For example, find the right or find potential tenants for the empty shops, install sitting possibilities in the public area, and much more. And for this project, 3 different teams were formed with specialists from the city, from the Chamber of Commerce, from private companies, and and a lot more. And since last year we do a project together. It's called the Grätzl-Initiative Ottakring, where the business agency of Vienna is primarily responsible, but the city of Vienna and also the Chamber of Commerce help to implement this project. And yeah, Ottakring is a district of Vienna, also known for the Ottakringer beer. And the project area is in a residential area. There are good shopping possibilities, but it could be better. So the first method in this year is that the business agency has rented 2 empty objects, and interesting business starters and companies could apply by means of competition. So the best concept can use one of these 2 empty shops for half of the costs for the next 3 years. So I'm nearly at the end of my presentations, and yeah, I could talk much more longer. So, as you can see, there are a lot of tools and methods to create and to revitalize shopping streets and areas, but not every tool works on every area. Also, the time you implement a project or a tool plays an important role. So, you have to consider general conditions. You can't plan a street or the ideal mix of branches on your own. So first of all, if you want to change something in your city and you want to strengthen areas and shopping streets, you should collect necessary basic information and share them with the specialists and much more. And this information should answer questions like, what are the reasons that a specific area isn't working as well anymore? How many empty shops exist and why do they exist? Who is interested in starting a business in your city, and what do these people looking for? Small spaces and so on. And what kind of financial help is necessary for a business starter as well as a shop owner? And yeah, there are many more questions. Fact is, consider always the condition of the public space. Not the empty shops are often the problem. It's a combination of more factors. So always consider the constitution of the public space. Are there enough sitting possibilities? Is the sidewalk suitable for the number of passers-by? Are there enough shady places? How is the feeling, the sense of security, and much more? So cooperate and talk regularly with all parties involved, and also think about companies who are working already in the upper floors of specific buildings. Maybe they are interested to move in the ground floor zone. And yeah, also check other city development tools, for example, business improvement districts. You can find a lot of information about the BIDs in the internet. And Hamburg is here really a role model if you want to implement such business improvement districts. So I'm really now at the end of my presentation. Thanks for your attention, and I'm looking forward for question and talks afterwards. Thank you.